This quiet Portland electrician, a husband, a father, and a murderous sexual fetishist.
Young women are being killed in the Willamette Valley, and they have enough bodies to make the public very concerned.
We knew that we had a vicious killer out there somewhere.
Where are these young women going?
At that point, we didn't know much more.
One by one, young Oregon women disappeared.
He took my hair and rounded around like a fulcrum and started beating my head on the basement floor.
But the act of killing was only foreplay.
He enjoyed killing these girls and mutilating the bodies. This was thrill to him. Absolutely enjoyed it.
It was a slow Saturday night, and they was out.
Jerome Henry Brudos, the lust killer. On May 10th, 1969, fishermen made a disturbing discovery on Oregon's Long Tom River. Bobbing on the current was a woman's body, weighted to something on the river bottom.
There had been 3 or 4 disappearances of young girls, and there was sort of a feeling of hysteria almost in the communities.
4 women were missing. The floating corpse confirmed one family's worst fears. It was Linda Saley.
Linda Saley. She had been abducted from the Lloyd shopping area, a large shopping area in Portland.
She'd been strangled to death and thrown into the river, her body tied to an automobile transmission. Divers combed the river. 2 days later, they found another body. Karen Sprinker, missing since March 27th, had also been strangled.
We realized that we were dealing with probably a serial killer.
Jerome Henry Brudos, future electrician, future serial killer, was born in Webster, South Dakota on January 31st, 1939. With the end of the Great Depression still 2 long years away, farm families in the Dakotas struggled to keep going. In search of greener pastures, Jerome's father Henry moved the family to Oregon. There he hoped to find a stable job and a good place to raise his family.
His parents pick up stakes and they move to the Willamette Valley. It has Portland at its north end, Eugene at its south end, and the state capital, Salem, in the middle. And just a little bit south of the state capital is the town of Corvallis. And Jerome Brudos had come to a place that was actually kind of an idyllic place to grow up for a young boy.
But Jerome's childhood proved neither happy nor stable. With jobs so scarce, the family moved frequently.
He went to several different schools as he was growing up. I don't think he ever felt secure with his family.
Jerome's father worked 2 jobs, leaving little time for a home life. Lacking a father figure, the young boy often found himself alone with his prudish, no-nonsense mother Eileen. Prone to emotional tirades, Eileen didn't hide her abounding love for her oldest son, Larry, or her deep resentment of her youngest son, Jerry.
Jerome Brudos was born to a woman who really wanted a girl. Now, we always hear about families or fathers who say, I really want a boy. But to imagine a mother who says, I really want a girl. I don't want a boy.
How a boy and later a man is treated by his first relationship with a woman, his mother, is very important. If he felt that he was sort of abandoned by her and simultaneously that she almost had a lot of anger towards him for even having been born, there can definitely be a feeling of some type of backlash.
Eileen regularly chastised and punished Jerome. One incident involved a pair of patent leather high-heel shoes little Jerry found in a dump.
Here's 5-year-old Jerome Brudos. He finds this pair of women's shoes. Something had made him pick those up rather than looking for a dump truck or a toy tractor to play with. So he brings home this pair of women's shoes and he begins to wear them around the house.
When Eileen discovered Jerome wearing the shoes, she made him promise to get rid of them.
The shoes became taboo, and her reaction to the shoes, he didn't understand why she was so adamant that he shouldn't have those. And she berated him emotionally. So he kept those shoes.
And he kept playing with them. When Eileen discovered his deception, she became enraged.
she was really out of control, burning the shoes in front of him.
In his case, he gets this message from his mom of very strong disapproval, that this is wrong, that this is nasty, it's dirty, and he's not to be doing it.
That fueled the flame of his anger to the point where that's probably when he really started feeling powerless and vulnerable, and that combined with anger and frustration can lead to a path of destruction later on down the line.
Far from dissuading him, his mother's reaction fed his fixation. Footwear became the focus of his emerging sexuality.
He started to associate that sexual arousal with that aggressiveness, with the forbidden aspect of the shoes, and that blossomed into this very strong fetish.
Having moved in 1955, Jerome found himself living next door to a family with teenage daughters. He began to indulge his fantasies. Now 16, Jerome obsessed over the young women, going so far as to steal their underwear from a laundry line.
This was his way of satisfying himself sexually, because Jerome was a very ordinary, average-looking person. He would not have been appealing to girls of his age.
When police received calls about the thefts, Jerome saw an opportunity. He told one of the neighboring girls that he worked with the police. He persuaded her to come to his house to discuss the crimes. When she arrived, he greeted her, then disappeared.
Jerome went into a separate room, put on a mask, and came back.
The masked figure held a knife to the girl's throat and ordered her to strip.
She's forced to disrobe. He takes pictures, runs out of the room.
As the terrified girl fled the scene, Jerome pleaded with her to come back, claiming a stranger had locked him in the barn.
I was trying to convince her that it wasn't him that was doing that.
The girl doubted Brudos, but didn't report him. Having escaped consequences, he became more daring. While giving a local girl a ride home one day, he stopped at a deserted farm. There, he ordered her to strip. When she refused, Brudos became enraged.
He takes her out, beats her.
It was sadistic and it was violent. And he was, into puberty then, and that's normally when the more violent aspects start being acted out.
A couple driving by saw the struggle and called police.
They arrest him, he confesses, and then the things are found, the shoes, the underwear, the camera.
Investigators discovered naked photos of Jerome's neighbor. They questioned her and she described his attack. Corvallis police knew that they had arrested a disturbed teenager. But no one suspected the horrible crimes that this freckle-faced kid was capable of. And when set free, Jerome Brudos and his disturbing sexual fantasies would quickly spiral out of control. In 1956, 17-year-old Jerome Brudos was a deeply troubled teen. He had a fetish for women's shoes and underwear, which he stole and secretly wore. He'd been arrested after beating one girl and forcing another to strip at knife point. Authorities sent Jerome to Oregon State Hospital for psychiatric evaluation and treatment. Doctors